Every single person on Earth is a DI. Every single one. Every single soul is tracked from the cradle to the grave by advanced technology that you don't know exists. It's invisible to you and me. Why? Because these souls are the commodity that is, and also food and everything else. So we're here like cattle on a farm. Okay. The TIs are people that are very sensitive, who see through to the interdimensional. They see through to the inside of this thing. They get a glimpse of what's going on. Like the people they live can see without needing the glasses. So they're immediately targeted. We've got one who can see! And at that moment, the hive is on you.
I've got one that can see.
He's a tall, Caucasian male, doesn't appear armed, wearing sunglasses.
May the collectors never succeed in taking our spirit away. What do you mean by that, Karina?
Well, as you know, with these, and you've probably heard from others before, is that this object, these beings, seem to take, and this is why I called it the collectors, they seem to collect all kinds of things from us, but it's not just on a physical level like our blood and our eggs, the sperm, and stuff like that. This also includes your emotional, your soul, so to speak, your essence. It's extremely important to us. It's extremely important to us. Not just one. This was hundreds, probably thousands, or God knows how many. And this was huge. This wasn't just a small column. This was very, very big.
They collect us, our souls.
It's either our soul, our essence, our spirit. There is something definitely that they are collecting, which is not on a physical level.
Yeah, something that is beyond our understanding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you completely. There is something there like that.
There's many names. Regenet, Resal, Nectar. It comes from people.
The human body generates more bioelectricity than a 120-volt battery and over 25,000 BTUs of body heat. Combined with a form of fusion, all the energy they would ever need.
How many patients are there?
They're not patients.
But they're sick.
They were born sick. They're meant to be sick. They exist to be sick. Lab rats. No wonder the sisters have got a cure for everything. They built the ultimate research laboratory. A human farm.
The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
Just like you've seen documentaries in 8th grade science, how you saw the ants keeping aphids, these little green bugs, that they would stroke their back and the aphids would put out a liquid that the ants would eat. Just like we keep cows so we can eat them. Pigs. We farm them and eat their flesh and blood. So you'll create a whole planet of a managed Truman Show, a Matrix, that has a false reality.
You're the closest thing I ever had to a brother, Truman. Everybody is in on it. I have to be in on it.
We put it in with hokey religions. This is exactly what's happened on Earth. We have these ridiculous fanatical religions that prey on the fear of humans of finding the right religion and willing to kill each other in bloodshed. The Abrahamic Anunnaki blood sacrifice religions. So, and you notice they're the ones that create the trouble. The Buddhists and the Hindus don't create that much trouble. Zen masters aren't likely that much to go to war with each other. But it's these fanatical sky god religions of avenging sky gods' fathers that create the blood sacrifice religions. So Earth has been a galactic farm for a long time, like galactic farmers have been using, feeding off our soul energies, our fear mostly. This is why they actually like war and blood sacrifice. It is in the blood. They drink the blood literally, or the energy that creates the blood. What could be more powerful than 750 million blood cells every day being created in your bone marrow? That's a lot of life force in your bone marrow. The magic in Father's bones, the relics, the blood marrow factory. I'm exposing some nasty shit here, but it's feeding off the blood. But even before the blood, the lifeblood, there is a life force, a life energy, the chi, the innocence. This is why stealing innocent life force is the highest commodity in the universe.
And what is the interest of non-humans in the container versus the soul? And what are they tracking about the soul-spirit entity of Homo sapiens?
Global corruption, the global syndicate, the bankers. Who are these people? Who are the individuals? Who are the puppet masters pulling the strings? You had mentioned the Jesuits in a previous interview, so I'm intrigued as to know where is the connection to the Jesuit order, as well as through the Vatican and beyond. There's many secret societies in the world. Many people speak of the Illuminati and the Masonic orders, the Order of the Garter, many of these super elite organizations that operate in secrecy. So I know I've named a few already, but if you could help us elaborate on these points, who are the people pulling the strings?
Well, do you remember when there were ghettos and you had something called a Judenrat that were the ones that would draw up the lists of the Jews that were going to get exported the next day? Do you remember how that system worked? These were traitors to their people because they thought they were going to save themselves. That's maybe why they did that, but it doesn't matter what their motives were. They were doing the work against their people. Think of this elaboration on a larger scale, and what we're dealing with actually is humanity, and the elite, the secret societies, the Vatican, they're traitors to humanity, because the one at the very core that's pulling the strings is a different species.
Welcome to slavery.
They're not the human race. They're called Homo capensis.
So you mentioned this species, an additional species of humans, or...
No, they're not humans. They are so distinct from humans that if they were to mate with humans, their offspring would not be fertile.
Are you speaking of the biblical Nephilim as an entity that people have discussed and tried to understand for millennia, and that is the race of offspring of humans and the fallen angels from...
No, these are not angels. These are not spiritual.
Well, the Nephilim themselves were the offspring of the fallen angels and humanity. Is this the same
They
species?
are not fallen angels. They are critters. They look just like human beings, except they have these big skulls. And that is why in the Vatican, you see these crazy meters, is what they're called.
Human livestock, a history of tax farming. The reality of political power is very simple. Bad farmers own crops and livestock. Good farmers own human beings.
What is the Matrix control system? We see a portion of it in the areas of government, military, medicine, finance, media, education, academia, and religion. These institutions engineer our belief systems and way of life. Their hidden architects may include secret societies, elite bloodlines, corporate syndicates, international bankers, government think tanks, and black ops military networks. Some call this the shadow government, the Illuminati, or the New World Order. This social political machinery is what many consider to be the Matrix. But in reality, these things comprise only the outer aspect of the Matrix, the part easiest to see, study, and believe in. They are only the branches, whereas the roots extend deep into the occult, alien, and hyperdimensional realms. To transcend the Matrix, we must understand the parts of the control system that originate beyond the political level of the conspiracy, for they are the avenues through which an immense effort of spiritual warfare is being waged against us. These deeper components include, first, the central brain of the Matrix control system, known by the ancients as the Demiurge. The Demiurge is said to be the soul of the universe. It is the all-pervading energy field that projects matter, energy, space, and time at a quantum level. The Demiurge is a non-physical artificial intelligence that in its original and rightful form fashioned physicality according to the divine will, except it has since broken away from the divine framework and become a parasite upon its own corner of creation, which is the universe we now find ourselves in. The Demiurge has shaped this universe into a cold, deterministic machine, a construct that perpetuates the illusion of linear time, that grinds onward without regard for the consciousness of its inhabitants, and that forces its subjects to live by the law of the jungle. These spiritually suffocating conditions are what allow the Matrix control system to exist. They lead to a mode of living that favors serving self at the expense of others. What was supposed to have been a nurturing womb, a growth matrix for the evolution of consciousness through physical experience, has instead taken on overtones of a spiritual prison. The second component of the Matrix includes all the non-physical beings that have taken after the Demiurge. In a realm of limited resources, there will be those who have developed competition, predation, and survival to a high art. Such beings are spiritually dead and cut off from the divine. They look to the living, such as ourselves, for their source of energy and entertainment. The more powerful ones, whom the Gnostics termed archons, may be viewed as the henchmen of the corrupted Demiurge. Here on Earth, they preside over a network of negative entities that farm us for our soul energy. This network includes demons, parasitic thought forms generated by human suffering and perversion, as well as ghosts working in the service of demons. They are all non-physical predators that roam around and instigate human suffering at every opportunity, mainly to feed off the soul energy released. They are energy feeders, mind manipulators, and tormentors that play us like fiddles if we are not aware. They can orchestrate misleading synchronicities, create accidents and freak illnesses, insert foreign thoughts and emotions into us during lowered state of consciousness, and they can induce schizoid symptoms in the vulnerable. The third component consists of alien collectives that have manipulated mankind in every way conceivable since the dawn of our species. They have shaped our genetics, history, beliefs, and want full control of our planetary destiny. Unlike demons, aliens are physical or quasi-physical beings who possess superior intelligence, psychic abilities, and technology. Within certain limits, their technology allows them to alter matter, energy, space, and time through the use of demiurgic energies. That is why aliens are architects of the Matrix control system. The fourth component is our own biology, which is largely a product of alien genetic engineering over the eons. Our bodies have been designed so that our perception is limited to only the 5 physical senses, and so that our drives are primarily those of the body and ego. It takes nothing to perceive the physical world, and yet it takes everything to reach up and connect with the spiritual world. By default, the odds are already stacked in the control system's favor. We perceive just enough to graze around the cattle farm, but not so much that we easily find a way out. The fifth component consists of empty or programmed humans through whom aliens, demons, and thought forms can work. People who are not in conscious control of themselves are open to control by something else, whether momentarily or permanently. Almost everyone is susceptible to being momentarily influenced when not paying attention. This includes friends, family, neighbors, co-workers, politicians, authors, or celebrities. The ones who are completely empty or deeply programmed are permanent agents of the Matrix. They function as hired clappers for the control system, or as walking mouthpieces for the alien agenda, or they simply act as background characters that prop up the status quo.
And looks down and closed eyes, and another pair of eyes drop down over the closed pair, who's reptilian.
I am totally convinced for myself that there are extraterrestrials, or what we call, or what have been called by government, EBEs, extraterrestrial biological entities, EBE. And these extraterrestrial biological entities are biological creatures, but they have the ability to take on human forms. They can look like humans if they want. There's no doubt in my mind that there's different ones are here from different places in the universe. Some have come from far out, some have come from near. But out there, some of those entities out there are enemies with each other.
Oops. I think I'm drooling a little. Because we're aliens. And that's how we roll.
Imagine this, okay, I lived alone. I was a college student, and I woke up to odd sounds in my apartment. And I thought somebody broke in. I jumped up, I went to go and react, and there were these two small gray alien beings standing in my living room.
Subverting the proof of alien life is because alien life is actually taking up habitation within most human consciousness, and from there projects the fear reality that many people consider to be everyday life.
And so we came up with our perfect plan.
Crab people.
If you can't beat me, change me.
Really, earthly human.
It is no longer your world. This is the future, and humanity is all but extinct. We have been invaded by another species who erase our minds to take our bodies. But there are a few of us left who still fight back.
And the reptilians holding the control and power over this planet. They manipulate us on so many levels within our energy body, within our chakra body, within our DNA. Us human beings are unique, just with especially our DNA. They can kind of have control over us without us even knowing it, essentially using us as a slave. Why this world is being governed and controlled by these particular extraterrestrials is the fact that they feed off low vibrational energy, such as fear, anger, despair, hatred, all these sorts of things, which are a big component of what essentially the way this world is. Like, for example, our mainstream media and mainstream everything is all based around these particular low vibrational emotions, because as humans, and we're very emotional, it's kind of being used up against us when we're being controlled by these reptilians. It's because they're enticing these types of feelings and thoughts in us that are low vibrational, so they feed off that energy, which we call in the energy world loosh. And everything in our world is put in place to make us fearful, make us resent things, make us angry, and make us create despair within people. That's why we see such an epidemic of all these conditions such as anxiety and depression, because they are a disease that's manifested from all these low vibrational energies. And it's there to feed them, because we are slaves to create this energy which they feed off. That's a big hint in regards to them being in control of our world. Symptoms that people will feel, probably is a good indication that they're being affected by reptilians, is just fatigue and tiredness. Thoughts and emotions, that's just really strange. I've had many clients that come to me, they don't feel themselves. They're getting all these negative thoughts and ideation, whether it's within a dream state or whether they're sleeping, while they're astral traveling while they're sleeping, or even just when they are awake during the day. And quite often they'll have a reptilian playing on their feelings and their thoughts. Also within their mind, within their sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight mechanism, which puts you into a state of despair and fear and anxiety and depression. And essentially we all have one. Like every person that comes to me to get energy treatment and get energy healing, there'll always be a reptilian component. This might be a reptilian within those areas that I've just mentioned, or in the area where you're having a health concern, as well as reptilian hybrid components where they've put genetic material of their own into you, so therefore there are components of them within you. Because remember, the human body is a regenerating, repairing mechanism. The body knows how to repair itself. So it's just removing all the roadblocks that are in the way from the body doing its job properly. And quite often is these reptilians put components of them within you, and that part of the body won't repair and won't regenerate itself. For example, eczema. Just had a client who's having a really bad problem with eczema and found that she had components of reptilian hybrid. So we had to clear all that out to allow that part of the body to start repairing itself again. A client's got either a Draco, which is a type of reptilian, or a reptilian. There's many species or subspecies of reptilian. We kind of just lump it all into one, into a reptilian. So what I do is I disconnect and unplug that part of the body, or that entire physical body, or what component that we are having an issue with the client, and all of a sudden you'll get clarity and you'll start to feel better. All of a sudden they won't be siphoning your energy off you, because that's what they're doing. They can siphon that energy from you, okay, and keep you at a lower vibrational health or level of being. because that's what they're wanting to do. They don't want you to ascend into a high vibrational state, because that's making this progress of this ascension process a lot easier for all humanity, and that's the last thing they want. So they want us to keep our energy levels down. They want us to be a low density being, so therefore they can continue to use us as an energy source and a way of doing experiments on us and as entertainment. Within the universe and within space, time doesn't exist. So time is a construct that's been put into place to enslave humanity from the reptilians. So, for example, this time constraint that we haven't placed to enslave humanity. So what I'm trying to say here is that when you remove all the low vibrational energy that reptilians are putting in place for us, all of a sudden we are in a state where we have the constraint of time on us or upon us. But when we remove all the low vibrational energy and all those constraints that are keeping us in a low vibrational state, then all of a sudden we break through the constraints that are put in place by the reptilians. So we need to be aware that they are part of our awareness, and we need to do everything that we can do, be service to others, and to try and speed up this process of humanity to go through this ascension process so we can break free all the time instead of being controlled within this matrix that I like to call, which is mainstream everything, that's trying to condition us down into a low vibrational state. We need to break through this. We need to be aware of what's causing this low vibration, such as the mainstream media and the news and all these things that are being put in place to allow a low vibrational energy to occur, which is feeding the thing that is controlling us, which are reptilians and these entities that are not there to help us through this ascension process. So I thought I'd do a video about reptilians because they're such a prevalent stressor within clients that I see within Truly Holistic. So you can break free from the reptilians to help with increased spirituality and also consciousness and your connection with your higher self, with true source, removing reptilian from your source self. So therefore you can be in control and consciousness and break free from reptilians to develop your own potential within your ascension process and your spirituality journey. And we can remove those reptilians and all connections to reptilians.